All right, we're here at the Liverpool store in the Ilac Centre because Liverpool are launching their new jersey, which they wore on the final day of the season against Brighton, but aren't going to wear in the Champions League final, but will be wearing for all the next season. It's your first look at it, Jason. Like, do you care? Do you get excited when the new jersey's coming out?
Massive, yeah. It's one of the best bits about being at a club when the new jersey comes out. It's like your superhero uniform, isn't it? I always love a new kit when it's launched and stuff. And I used to, because I was sponsored with Reebok, like a sponsored player. We were also sponsored by Reebok as a club.
Okay.
So obviously I had to do all the kit launches and all that kind of stuff. So done the yellow kit, and then obviously you got to do all the media and the posters and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool, to be honest.
Most of the media for this, unsurprisingly, is Salah, Firmino, Mane. In a dressing room, are you looking around at all the media launches and who's front and centre at the kit launches and thinking, I'm not getting asked for this anymore?
Do you know what it means? It means you're there the next season.
Yeah.
They never usually ask players they want to get rid of. So if you get asked to launch the new kit, you're in the manager's plans.
Yeah.
But obviously, I mean, we were a good-looking team, weren't we, back then? So Patrick Berger was always in
part
it.
of the problem.
Jamie, Jamie was always on the posters, and then there was myself, but I was sponsored by Reebok. It's nothing to do with looks. It was just because I was sponsored. But it's really one of them things that you look out for, and I used to enjoy doing it. Yeah, we had some great kits as well. Liverpool they've had one or two dodgy ones, but predominantly they've always been sort of iconic kits. Right back to the 80s, 70s, 80s. I mean, do you remember the white Hitachi V-neck?
The crown paints, which they still sell here in the shop. They sell all the great jerseys that they won when they were winning European Cups and that. Do you get a stockpile? So when the new jerseys launched, do all the team get like 20 jerseys you can give out to your family and friends, or how does that all work?
I usually nick the ones from the photo sessions. I'll be getting one today. Don't worry about that, won't I? So yeah, I mean, you just used to take them from the photo sessions and stuff, but I mean, like I said, because I was sponsored, I could get my hands on loads of them, yeah. But they would never give them out the date, like before the launch date. That was one big thing. It's like the big launch, isn't it? It's a big thing that the club do.
Not all the jerseys were great, though. I do remember, was it a sort of cream away kit?
A crew. That
crew
colour was called a crew.
Was that what you modelled the suits then for the '96 Cup final on? There was a similar.
They were a bit whiter than that. Yeah. They were a bit whiter than that. And funny enough, I think that kit was out that season, and we played the cup final in the green and white checks, didn't we? Which I liked, but it obviously brings back bad memories because we lost the cup final. I love the yellow kit. I love that kit. That was a really nice kit. I'll tell you the other thing that I've noticed about kits was they were massive. They were like really big. And you look at the kits now, because you need to have a body like a Greek god, don't you, to wear these kits now. And Neil Ruddock couldn't have played these days. And Jan Molby and that, no chance. But
did you swap jerseys? What's the best one you have at home? Have you got any of them up on the wall?
Yeah, I was never a swap. I used to swap with my mates. So just say, for instance, we played against Everton, I'd swap with Alan Stubbs. Or international-wise, I used to swap now and again. I got Andreas Brehme as we played Germany just before we went to America. Do you remember? And we beat them 2-0. And Andreas Brehme gave me his shirt that game. And it was brilliant, you know, because we've come to the end of the game, and obviously he was the left back and I was playing on the right. But he come on as a sub. And at the end of the game, I went over to ask him to swap. And he took his shirt off and gave me it. And I went to give him mine. He went, no, it's okay. He didn't want it. Kill me. I've got Maldini's.
Nice.
Yeah. I've got Patrick Mboma, do you remember him? Played for Cameroon, and he was African Player of the Year. I've got his.
That from 2002?
It might be, actually, yeah. It might be. Yeah. The best one ever is Aldo swapped, I'm sure it was a German player called Kuntz, Stefan Kuntz, and Aldo just wanted his shirt for some reason. That's the best shirt I've ever seen in my life, that Kuntz. I'm trying to think about. I've got they don't usually swap Brazil, but my last game for Ireland was against Brazil at Lansdowne, and our kit man, he went into their dressing room and said, "Listen, we've got a player retired, and no one wants to wear their number 13." So they just said, "Yeah, you can have that." So I've got a number 13 Brazil shirt in the house, which was nice. I've got some really good ones, but I just can't remember who's on the back of him.
Where's your jersey from the Dutch game?
I've got that. I swapped my second one with Jimmy Hasselbank. I swapped with him, and it was all torn. Harty pulled him to the ground, if you remember, and it's all torn there. So yeah, I've got that shirt, but I've got the one I played and I kept that one. Yeah. That's super iconic, isn't it? So I tell you also, I've got Kasaragi from the '94 World Cup, and he come to England, didn't he? Chelsea, done his knee against Liverpool. How ironic is this? Anfield Road, done his knee, snapped his peroneal nerve, and never played again.
Yeah, so are they all framed? Like the Dutch,
No.
the jersey though from the home game against Holland. Like, where do you have that? Is it something you look
No,
at the odd time, and you have a dinner party, bring it out and show everyone?
No, that's put away safe. Shirts I've got framed is me 50th cap Finland, and that's framed with a picture of the team, the armband. I've got that, so that's really nice. I've got a big picture of the goal against Holland. This is all in my office. I've got Stubbsy's on the wall, Alan Stubbs, because he was my best mate growing up through football. I've got Don Hutchinson, his Scotland shirt, that's on the wall. Who else I've got on my wall? And I've got memorabilia. I've got a signed picture of Tiger, that's nice. I've got an advert I did for the 2002 World Cup for Carlsberg, that's on my wall. I'm trying to think of other shirts I've got.
It's kind of nice though that it's not actually just the biggest names; it's your mates' jerseys.
Yeah, I got Robbie Fowler Leeds shirt. A Gavin McCann because he was a really good mate of mine at Sunderland. Got his. Mark Hughes' Blackburn shirt. So like me mates and like big names that I played with, I kind of used to get their shirts as well. Got Jamie's FA Cup shirt. He gave me that. Got one of Jamie's Redknapp's England shirts. Yeah, Mac is my brother-in-law, so I can have a Real Madrid shirt if I want it. He keeps promising to give me one, but he never gets round to it. But yeah, I've got some really nice ones.
This time 20 years ago, you were a Liverpool player. We were talking just before we came on air. You're still here representing Liverpool. It must have been the best decision you've ever made, both with what happened on the pitch and getting to represent Liverpool, but the way the club have kept you involved, and you're still out there as an ambassador and a representative, and you play in the Legends games. It was a life-changing 4 years.
Amazing, yeah. And basically, you know, Ireland has its part to play, as does Bolton. You know, I grew up a Liverpool fan. You know, I got my chance at Bolton. Ironically, Phil Neal was the manager, signed me. You know, and there was a lot of hard work to be done. And then, obviously, I got into the Irish squad. And I think going to the '94 World Cup sort of puts you on a platform then to be spotted. And, you know, although I was playing really, really well, you know, when you go to a World Cup, you know, you become a household name, not just in Ireland, but obviously in England, because where I was playing, we'd been promoted as well to the Premier League. Me and Alan Stubbs were coming through making names for ourselves. So, yeah, in no disrespect to Bolton, I think we were always going to move on. It was just who we were going to go to. And then it comes down to the Liverpool fancier. Did he need a player in that position? Did he need a player of your kind of calibre and what you can do? And it was just the right timing, right place, right timing. And obviously to get the call was like you say, a dream come true. Very difficult to go there and, you know, repeat what teams have done, because the legacy there is phenomenal, and you've got to go and hit the ground running, because you get found out. And I'm sure you'd agree, there's players come and gone at Anfield who can't take the pressure of playing for the club in front of the fans and the demand, and you've got to learn very, very quickly. And I was in a team, you know, that Roy had put together, a young team that we were all sort of going through the same problems on and off the pitch, and we could all relate to each other, and we all become very, very good friends. And I think that's the knock on to what's happened with the club now. It's a very, very much a family club. They hold them traditional values. You look at the partners that are there now, it's all to do with family and, you know, closeness and, you know, sticking together and going through adversity, which we've had over the years with certain things, and, you know, with Heysel and then obviously Hillsborough afterwards, it brings the club close together, and a bond's formed. And I think with me, you know, I look at the lads I travel with when we are these ambassadors and representatives, as you say, and, you know, it's Robbie Fowler, Steve McManaman, John Barnes, Ian Rush, Kenny's around sometimes, you know, and I do look at myself and think, like, why are you in this position? Because, you know, I didn't reach the heights of getting a nickname such as God. You know, I'm not in the all-time greatest list. But what I think why I think sort of I'm kept on and used is because I'm the kid that grew up in the shadow of Anfield, who desperately wanted to play for the club, who managed to fulfil his dream, and I think that's a nice message really to send out to youngsters, that I am the living proof that if you want it enough, that the opportunity comes your way, then you've got to grab it and take it. But it can happen, and I think that's why the club keep me involved. And for me, it is like a dream come true still.
Does it frustrate you then a little bit when people look at that generation of Liverpool players and would describe you as flashy, whereby you're looking back thinking, well, actually, Jesus, I worked harder than anybody to get to that position to play for Liverpool?
Yeah, I know how hard I worked, and I know how hard the players around me worked as well, and I know how tough it was. And I think when you look back, I think football through the mid-90s was changing. I think you've got to look at the big picture. It was changing. There was adverts coming into football. The money from the telly was coming into football. Everything changed. It became very glamorous to be a footballer. We were bigger than pop stars at the time, and I say we were bigger than pop stars. We were on a par with the Spice Girls and Take That when they were doing their thing. We were all kind of friends and bumped into each other in different various situations, and I think people looked at that and didn't know how to take it, and unless you were winning, you were looked upon as a failure. And I think you look at the Liverpool legacy I mentioned before, which was winning leagues and cups and all that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden, them players were on X amount of money, winning these they weren't accessible because there was no social media. You didn't really know what they got up to and what they did. They just won cups and that was it, and put it in the trophy cabinet at Anfield. But my generation, you did know what we were doing. We were doing a lot more interviews. There was more back pages to fill. There was magazines to fill, not just football magazines, but like Smash Hits. And I was coming over here and doing The Den and all that kind of stuff. And we were getting put out there appealing to the younger audience. And all of a sudden, if you're not winning but you're doing all that, people are thinking, well, that's the reason you weren't winning. Well, and they should be working harder. And it wasn't like that. It was just Manchester United, I think, were mentally tougher than us in certain games. We very much shadowed the team that is now. Very easy on the eye, very expansive, scored lots of goals, but at the back sometimes disappointed, and against the lower teams in the division drop points, and that's what we were.
So when you meet up with Patrick Berger and Jamie Redknapp and you look back on those years, is it with regret that you didn't win trophies? It is. It's not a case of, listen, we had a very good time, we feel we worked hard, but something just didn't click? No,
I finished third, fourth at Anfield, and I think if you look at Arsene Wenger now, he's never been out the Champions League, although maybe the last couple of seasons. But his pride was on reaching that top four every season. Roy Evans did that and is looked upon as a failure at Liverpool. So you've got to balance it out really. We lost the cup final '96. That's one of my biggest regrets in football. Not winning that. We all want to win the cup final. It was a poor game. It could have gone either way. I think if someone was braver on the day, I think they would have won it easy. But no team sort of come out and played. We were both within ourselves and didn't really come out and play. It was an 86th, 85th minute goal, I think, Cantona, wasn't it? But yeah, it was disappointing. And we look back and think we were so close. We were the bridesmaids, never the bride, weren't we? And we were so close. And it does grate on me. It does grind on me just to have won one thing with Liverpool. Just would have put the icing on the cake, really.
You mentioned the current crop and then maybe the similarities. They're still waiting to get their first piece of silverware as well. They'll never get a better opportunity than in Kiev on May 26th. When you look at Jurgen Klopp and having been around the club and the buzz that's there at the moment, do you look at that and think, oh, I wish I was 20 years younger working under this guy?
Yeah, he's a phenomenal manager and obviously representing the club. I've met him, behind the scenes as well. And sometimes it's, what you see on the telly is not what you get behind the scenes, But he very much is that, full of charisma. It's very much a team, a squad, and he introduces everybody as well into that. We'll put the kit man in that, and the girls who make the tea, and very much like you've seen Guardiola doing now. When he's talking about different things, Klopp's very, very similar. And his philosophy, I think I would have suited that. Hard working, lots of energy, lots of closing down. It was kind of my game really, so I kind of feel I might have been suited to the way he plays. But yeah, I mean, it's a great team to play in. they're like still yet to win something, and unfortunately you're judged on what you win, aren't you? And you know, they've been in the cup final before with him. Unfortunately we lost to Sevilla, but I think that'll stand him in good stead for this Champions League final up and coming. And like you say, you know, there's no bigger opportunity with the way the team are playing and the mentality they've got at the minute. There's no bigger chance to win that cup.
Are you surprised from where they were last season just how high a level he's been able to get this group to?
No, because it's all about believing what the manager wants, and you know, if results start coming his way and being positive, then the belief is a lot easier because you're doing the right thing. What I like about Jurgen is when he enters the transfer market, it's never about, yeah, we're going to sign Messi, we're going to sign Ronaldo, we're going to sign Neymar. You know, it's players that fit his philosophy, that fit in, aren't going to be a problem in the dressing room. They're not a big time Charlie. You know, it's someone that is going to give 120% every game. And you know, he's done that. You'd have to say his signings have been a success. There's one or two still yet to come out of the shell and still yet to fulfil the potential. You know, but that's what happens at Anfield. It's almost it's a gamble sometimes when you sign a player because, you know, they've got all the attributes for what you want as a player, but then comes the pressure of playing for Liverpool. And I know we've not won the league for maybe 25, 26 seasons.
Can you explain that? Because I've seen that at Anfield. You talk about the incredible Liverpool support, but they can also turn quite quickly, and they're so involved, they're so emotional about everything that a couple of bad passes they get on a player's back. Like, what is that like when you're actually in the middle of the pitch and you're not having the greatest game, and maybe the crowd actually aren't trying to will you out of it, they're just getting on your back, they're just at you? Yeah,
well, it's expectancy to win, it's expectancy to be a success, and it's expectancy to give everything every game. That's what the fans want and demand. The legacy and the history of the club, you know, demands it, and it's very, very difficult when no one goes out to have a bad game. No one goes out to, you know, give a pass away or give a goal away. We all go out in the best intentions, but sometimes it just doesn't happen in everything, in every walk of life. You know, from the minute you wake up, I know now how my day's going to go. Just from the first minute I get up, it just sometimes just doesn't happen. And you know, I think, you know, with my teammates, they were always there to help me out, and I knew if it wasn't going well, you know, Jamie would always make himself more available. Stevie Mack, who had a free role, would come and play on the right-hand side a little bit more. You know, you've got to go back to basics. You've got to start playing easy passes and just work your way back into the game. And the crowd, you know, if you... Ronnie Moran used to say to me, right, if you give the ball away and shake your head and throw your arms up and stuff and don't react, the crowd will get on your back more. He said, if you give the ball away and all of a sudden your instant reaction is go and win it back, go and try and make it right.
Andy Robertson against Man City.
Exactly. You will win the heart of the crowd, and they'll be right behind you, and you feel that. And you know, at the end of the day, they can only wish for 120%, and if they get it, you know, they can't really moan.
You're going to Kiev, you're going to be working for LFC TV. You're allowed to be sort of biased in that case. Then are you one of these, you're very professional when you're watching Liverpool, or do you just lose the rag if they score?
To be honest, I go back to being a fan, but I try and, as you know, you've got to stay professional, and you know, I always try and, I think it's punditry. It's very easy to, two things, either sit on the fence or be very, very biased. I think the hardest thing is to have an objective opinion about both teams and stuff, and I think it's going to be difficult. I think it's going to be very difficult. You've got a team like Madrid going for the treble. Very experienced in this competition, very experienced players at this level of cup competition, and I think you've got it's a one-off, and I think, you know, everyone's saying, oh, Liverpool can beat anyone in a one-off game. I actually think Liverpool, psychologically, it's better for them having a double header, home and away, because they always feel like they can win at Anfield, and they always feel like they can turn a team over, which then, as you've seen against City and Roma, they can afford to go to that second leg with a bit of a gap between them, and then you can hold on then, which they kind of did it in parts of the two away games. When it's a one-off, in a neutral ground, you know, the atmosphere is going to be electric. It's basically who's got the biggest knackers, to be honest, when it comes to a final. In my opinion, in my experience, you know, you can go in with the best intentions, but you've got to be brave, and you've got to stand up, and you've got to embrace the situation, because if you don't, you can be 3-0 down at half time. And I think, you know, you look at Istanbul, and you know, if they'd have been 1 or 2-0 down, I don't think they would have won. It was the fact that they went in with half time with nothing to lose, and all of a sudden that's when players become brave, because they might as well have a go. They might as well go out there and think, well, I'll try this pass, I'll try that pass, and it all come off for them. Then the momentum changed and he got back into it. Hopefully we're not in that position. Hopefully you can go there and get a nice little cushion and play out the game and see it out and win. But like I said before, I think Sevilla will play its part as well, because it's experience.
Enjoy the game.
Thank you very much.